Afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our Black History Webinar Career Webinar. Today, I have the honor and the pleasure of introducing our guest speakers, Nicholson and Jonita Scott with Southwestern Amateur Athletic Union. At this time, Mr. and Mrs. Scott, I hand the floor to you.
Okay, hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you so much for inviting us for this Black History Month great celebration. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having us. It's an honor to be on here today. If you notice, she's going to do a lot of talking because I'm used to it. So, so, so if she talks, that believe me, she is the spokesman for our family.
Great, great. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's get this started. So, can you share some history and background about yourselves and your family?
Go ahead.
Okay. Yes. Well, I'm originally from Fort Worth, Texas, and I graduated from Fort Worth Dunbar. And and one thing about me is that I was I was proud to be on the first team to win a state championship for Fort Worth Dunbar. And so went to college, Tarleton State University in Stephenville. Uh, Went down there, and then actually came back home, and because my wife said that she's with a child, so my decision was to come home and take care of my family. And but I did stay in the sport, and so we started an organization, Pioneer Track Club, as well as PTC Youth Success, uh, which I'm the director for AAU Southwest District and regionals. So basically, we just wanted to make sure that our family grew up doing the same things that we believe in, our mission to help the community and everything. And believe it or not, they did. So we're blessed to have that, have our kids to do the same thing that we do. Ms. Scott.
Well, I guess I'll talk about our family. We have four sons, Nick, Joey, Jonathan, and Joshua, and they are all professionals. They all went to various schools. They didn't all go to the same school, and all of them also went to college. And we're really proud of them. They actually kind of talked to us before this interview to give us some insight on some things that they were doing that we weren't even aware of. So we're really proud of them.
Awesome. I just love the way that you two just kind of bounce off each other, that it's a great union and then just working together. So I just can't wait to hear the details about all your great work. So, so let me ask you, what motivates you as an African American leader? Do you have specific memories that highlight your personal goals and values?
What motivates, I think, the both of us is leaving a legacy because we were young parents. We wanted to make sure, and we pretty much grew up with our children. We've, believe it or not, been married already 48 years, and we're still pretty young. So we wanted to make sure that we left a legacy for our children, and we wanted to make sure that they understood the importance of leaving a legacy behind. And so we had a lot of rules and regulations in our home. And but our children who now have children have a lot of those same rules and regulations for their own kids. So that was pretty important to us, is leaving a legacy behind when we're no longer here.
And one of the I guess the memory and highlights is actually being a father and making sure that all four of my sons understand the woman side of it. Uh, Everywhere, whoever they came in contact with, and I guess staying on the job for 20 some years or more, and also doing the coaching at the same time, also mentoring at the same time. Uh, but I guess my main highlight is I could not do anything with other people's kids unless I did it with my kids first. In other words, I can't tell another kid from another family to go to college, but I didn't tell my kids to go to college. So we try to keep that same value. If I'm telling my kids to do this and I'm telling other kids to do it, it has to be all the same. Okay.
That's amazing and that's wonderful. Just that legacy and also of expectation. So what you
Yes.
expect in your home, you expect no less from other children that it sounds like you make your own. And that's just a value in itself that today it's a treasure. So I know that
It
that's
really is.
easy.
Correct. Yes.
All right. So, as you shared many things about your culture and family values, how have these experiences guided you throughout your career?
Well, for me, our culture and our main family value within the culture of our Black American home is loyalty, it's honesty, and it's completion. And that was something that my husband and I taught our children, and even the kids that we mentor, we teach them to always be loyal, to always be honest, and to complete anything that you start. It's too, I guess it's very odd to me when sometimes families are not loyal even to each other. And that's something that we drilled into our sons, that if you're not loyal to your own brothers, to your own family, to your friends, then what are you doing? We would sit them down and ask them what their goals were in life. What's your plan? You know, my husband would say, what's your 5-year plan? What do you want to do in the next 5 years? And that started even when they were in elementary school. And so they would talk to us about that. And we would say, okay, well, that's what you're saying that you're going to do. We're going to hold you to it. We want you to be loyal to the commitment that you're even making to yourself. And then we want them to be honest. So you have to be honest. Your word is really your bond. If you say that you're going to do something, do it. Don't lie about it. Don't lie to us. We believe in open communication. So we would have nights where there was no TV turned on. They would have to sit and they would have to talk to us. And we wanted them to communicate their feelings and how they felt about things. And with all honesty, we made sure that we told them there is nothing that you can't come to us and talk to us about. And then the completion part of that is, like I said before, don't ever start something you're not intending to finish. We want you to finish whatever you start, whether you start in a sport or some other educational organization, because we gave them choices. We didn't say you have to do this sport or that sport. We wanted them to be open-minded and let us know what they wanted to do, but they had to complete it. They couldn't quit.
And to piggyback off that, I'm a track and field coach as well as the high performance staff for USA Track and Field also, and that is dealing with strictly the pro athletes. Uh, when I'm at the house, we very seldom talk about sports. I need to know, are you passing? What's your your SAT? Have you studied for it? ACT? What's your GPA right now? Everything. And so, I used to work at nighttime. And one thing about my kids is this: when I come home at 3:30 in the morning, they have to have their homework on the table. Well, if I wake you up, you're not going back to sleep. You're going to school, but you will do that homework before you hit that school campus. So, and it's not strict. I mean, that's what they supposed to do. I mean, that's just the way it is. That's the way life is all about. Just like she said, uh, your word is your bond. If you say you're going to do your homework, then do your homework. That's it. If you say you're going to go out for track and field, football, basketball, finish it. If you say you're going to be in the marching band, symphonic band, or whatever, finish it, and then go to the next step.
Well, that's amazing. And I just love it. I'm just going to cherish that one, that phrase that you said, your word is your bond. I think that is just instrumental in just being loyal, committed, because I hear so much commitment from you. There's a standard of commitment. Whatever you start, you finish. Whatever you say, you do. And I just hear that. Just you're very passionate about raising individuals that are successful in whatever endeavor they select, but with the core values. And I do, as I hear, you speak of track and field, and all of these are important not only for just the body but the mind. So I just think that that is so amazing. I mean, I just can't say enough about what you're doing for the youth. That is so important for our future. That leads me into my next question about your cultural customs and traditions. Do you feel, that there are some cultural and traditions that customs that you would never stray from, and why?
We have a few customs that we will never stray from. We were both raised in a predominantly African American neighborhood, of course, and so it really did take a village during our upbringing to raise a family, to raise a child. During the times that we were growing up, people did gather together in the community. They gathered together at their neighbors' homes. They gathered together at our homes. They gathered together in front yards and in backyards, and they barbecued and they talked and they had fun, and kids played together. And so those are some of the traditions that we will never stray from. We have family gatherings, and everyone is pretty much required to be there. We don't have to tell them it's a requirement because they want to be with us. Our kids really want to be around their parents, and we're so blessed and grateful for that, because there are some kids that we both mentored that don't have that same relationship with their parents. But our children and grandchildren, we speak with them every day, whether it's via phone or text message or a video call. We're going to talk to all of them every day, and we don't necessarily have to initiate that. They're going to do it just because it's something that they're accustomed to doing. So those types of family gatherings, the communication that we have, I'm looking over at my husband's phone right now. It's his mom calling. So we really believe on staying in touch with each other and being present, not just around the house, but when the kids have things that are going on now, when the grandkids have things that are going on, they really want us to be a part of it. And so we do our best with being present in their lives. That's really important, as opposed to just taking them and dropping them off, and then they see you when it's time to be picked up. I think that there were so many times we couldn't do that because we were working. But now that we're, kind of semi-retired, we're able to stay in their lives and do a lot of things with them. So I think that's
Well, and I think I can also say, in today's world, my grandkids and my sons, they do not text me. That is one thing that I don't allow. If you got to talk to me, call me. Or either, if you do text me, say, call me, Grampy or Dad. But I don't believe in the texting when I'm dealing with family. Uh, I have to hear your voice, because that let me know that you're serious. Are you in trouble? Just the sound of the voice can tell me where you at on how you're thinking. But they do not text me at all, period.
and that's him. I don't mind
That's
that.
me now. Okay? So they already know, if you got to talk to me, you call me or I call you. Now, if you do text me, I'm calling you while you're texting. Okay. But that's me.
Well, I love that. I think I'm going to go ahead and instill that in my family. I don't know if I might get ghosted. I don't know, but I amazing, that that is the expectation is that you're going to be an open communicator. Um,
Yes.
I do believe that that is another value and tradition and custom
Mhm.
needs to be instilled in many of our families. So I'm going to take that. If no one else, no other viewer does today, I guarantee you that I'm going to take that for sure. I mean, it's just so wonderful to even hear that someone values hearing someone else's voice, and especially when it's our family. So I,
Yeah.
that has been probably another part of your secret sauce in what you do.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. Okay, so one of my favorite questions to ask our panelists, because I was an educator, so I reach out for our educators, but can you share with us any teachers or any counselors, anyone that inspired you to be who you are today? And maybe share a memory with us?
Uh, I can go first on that one. Every teacher that I had from elementary all the way up to high school influenced me. Um, I had no bad teachers. I don't know why, but I didn't. Got it? And each one of them instilled in me certain things um, for me to grow on, and I was in the choir, Miss Scott. That's that. Believe it or not, we're not kin to or anything, or a relative, but her name was Miss Scott, and she influenced me to sing. In the choir, vocally, everything. Uh, I think I broke her heart when I said I was just going to do track and field, but the thing is, she showed me a different side of me. Um, you know, I, my high school coach, Coach Don Parker, that was the head track and field coach at Fort Worth Dunbar. When it, in my sophomore year is when I met him for the first time. He only asked me one question: have you ever been to the state championship to watch it? Do you know what you're running for? And I said no. So he put us in a van and we went down to the University of Texas in Austin to watch the state championship. That influenced me once I saw the kids of my age running, that when we got back, we started working double hard in practice to get back to the state that next year, and we did, and won the state. So that was an influence that I would never ever forget. And it's just different teachers and different coaches and everything that I have, that influenced me.
For me, it was, I'll say, Mrs. Peterson was our counselor or assistant principal. I'm not really sure which she was in school, but she was also my mom's counselor in school, and she was just so wonderful. She always had a smile and a pleasant greeting, and so I think that influenced me to always have kind words for other people. Miss Green was a second grade teacher that I had, and she was also the first lady of our church. And so she influenced me that you can get your word across to people without yelling and screaming, because I did have some teachers that were yellers. And she was very soft spoken. And so that really influenced me. Linda Meyerson was my creative writing teacher in high school. And she's the first person that told me that she knew I was going to be a writer someday. I remember going to a creative writing, I guess it was a retreat one weekend. And we were just like in a big park, and I have such great memories of that. And we just all sit at picnic tables, and she said, write about something that you see. And she said that I inspired her. What I don't remember what I wrote about. It was probably a frog or a butterfly or something. But she said the way that I wrote it, that I had potential, and so that encouraged me to be a writer. But I guess for me, the two most important teachers were my mom, because she worked three jobs pretty much all the way through me in elementary school and middle school. She always worked 3 jobs. She worked a job from 8 to 3. She worked a job from 4 to 7, and then she had a job on the weekends. So she worked. She was a hard worker because she was a single parent. And then my grandmother truly influenced me because she had a drive for education. My grandmother had to leave school in the 2nd grade to go and work to help provide for her family. But she always had this desire to learn. She couldn't read and she couldn't write. And so when I was in high school, she told me that she wanted to learn how to write letters to the other family members that didn't live locally. And she would just make these really careful cursive writing little marks, trying to make the A and the B and all like that. And we practiced, and that was something that we did almost every evening when she would get home from her domestic job and I get home from school. We practiced that. And so when Dunbar ended up having a night school, she walked from our house all the way to the school so that she could take night classes. And she learned to read and write. She learned to write those letters, and she valued that education that she got. So when she was able to show us that little certificate that they gave her in night school, you would have thought it was a major graduation ceremony. So
Well, my goodness, it was a
yeah,
milestone. What I am really, really just taking in is you had such a great circle of support, and also you had individuals with a lot of fortitude.
yes, we did.
No
So
matter
we
what it took, you were going to make it, and not just make it. That's not even good enough. You were going to be successful in whatever endeavor. And I just see that just very passionately in your work, in the way that you speak, in the smile on your face when you speak of your being a mentor, being a teacher, being, I'm sure, a father, a mother, to many students. And I think that that is something that we really need today for our youth. So I know that every day that you do this, it's not an easy day, but it's a day of commitment. And I
Yeah.
applaud you for that, because I'm
thank
like, my
you.
goodness, sometimes I wish I would have had that same circle of,
Mhm.
security. So I know that it's not easy. So that's going to lead us into our last question, which is, can you share a few of your greatest, you've shared so many, but of your greatest moment and accomplishment as an African American, and how you believe that's going to impact our society today and in the future?
Uh, yes. Going back to high school, and I don't want everybody to think that I'm just a coach or an athlete. Uh, I think my greatest moment is when I got hired on with the Corps of Engineers downtown Fort Worth at the Federal Building, and uh, and I worked for them for 2 years. And from my sophomore year, uh, to the first half of my senior year coming out of high school. And I also had an engineer scholarship as well as an athletic scholarship. And so I think that's one of my greatest, achievement academically. Of course, athletically is getting a full ride scholarship, in track and field. And also being in a group of boys, which is young men's now, um, being the first group to win a state championship. And we're very proud of that. I think the third and last thing is starting the program that we have now with PTC Youth Success, and getting a group of kids together, starting at 50 kids. Now, since we've been doing this community service with AAU, it's over 5,000 kids that's involved in this now. So that was one of our biggest achievement for me, and to keep it going, through our kids, our grandkids, because all our grandkids work in our track meets. So they part of everything that we do. Okay. So they are on the round table when we're discussing what to do at at everything that we do. So I think that's the biggest moment in accomplishment that we have done so far.
Yeah, and to add to that, also when we have those track meets, there are so many college recruiters that are there looking at athletes. They're not just looking at African American athletes, though, they're looking at all athletes. And they're looking at those that have the potential to make it at their universities. And many of them end up with scholarships as a result of those track meets that we host. And so I think that that's something within the community that we're really very proud of. For me personally, I have a couple of things that I'm really proud of. I'm proud to have had the opportunity to not only work with my husband with track and field, but to also be an author. I've done several books. I've many of them I've ghostwritten, which means that I write them for someone else and they get the credit for them. And also, I've done several independent films and plays, stage plays. And it's really, I feel, impacted the community because I try to do something that's of substance. I don't just want to do something that's strictly for entertainment purposes. And my husband has worked with me as well on all of the projects that I've done. And so we've done films and plays that were based on colon cancer. A lot of, we found out with doing that, first we did it as a play and then we did it as a short film. And my husband's, one of his doctors was actually in my play and spoke at the end of the play, which the audience was primarily African American. But he talked about the rise in colon cancer in our community and how important it was to get checked. And I got so many emails and calls from people thanking me because a lot of them went to the doctor and found out that, this was something I never would have thought about getting checked. But because of that, I found out that I was in stage 1 or stage 2, still treatable. But had it not been for them just coming out to a play or going to see a film, they probably would not have known until it was much later. So we've done the colon cancer. We've done a film on breast cancer awareness where we've really tried to inspire our community to go and get checked for breast cancer. And we've also done a film on mental illness. There's no shame in saying that you're depressed or that you are bipolar or that you have something else going on that you need help with. A lot of times that was a stigma in our community. We didn't want to say that we have a mental illness or that we have something going on that we needed help for. But we have put that out there and we try to inspire people to get help for that. There's no shame in saying that you need help. And so I think that that's something that we're pretty proud of with putting out there in our community. And we're not the only ones doing it. We're just a couple of people that are doing it.
And one more thing, real quick, that was based on when my doctor did the play and appearance on the stage play was based on, I come out of a single parent home and never knew my dad. Well, when I found out my dad, he had already passed away, but I asked him, why did he pass away? And they said colon cancer.
You asked his wife.
Yeah, his wife.
Yeah.
So that's when we went into effect to make the stage play about that.
Yeah.
And so believe me,
it's pretty powerful.
It was pretty powerful.
Yeah. And one of our sons, actually, the doctor said, because this is a hereditary trait, you need to have your children probably checked at a young age. So when they reach 30, you need to have them checked. And our oldest son already had precancerous polyps. And so that was a lifesaver for us. So everything we do, we've mentioned about family this and family that. Even with our track meets that we host based on family, we have a pretty strong family unit. So everything that we do, we're just so blessed to have the family that we have.
Yes, and thank you so much for such an inspirational message, inspirational contributions, not only to your own family, to communities, to the world. It's very evident that both of you are in the work, not just about the work. And I do thank you today. I thank you for being on with us today. I thank you for spreading a new fire, because I know after people view this, it's like, what can I do? Or what am I not doing? So I do thank you so much for joining us. I am going to lend this time to you if you'd like to end with an inspirational message, and then we'll close from there.
For me, family. That's it. Bottom line, family. Because if you don't get the family right, the family can't get anybody. They can't get their family right. And just stay, like she said, your word is your bond. That's it. Stay with it. Finish out everything that you say, and just remember to believe in God.
And for me, it is, I guess I would go back to my husband's teaching with our own children. What is your legacy? What do you want to leave behind? What from this day, where do you want to be in your life in the next 5 years, in the next 5 minutes, in the next 5 weeks, whatever? Set yourself a goal. It doesn't matter if you're a teacher and you're teaching children every day. There may be something else that you want to do in addition to that. Because you're a teacher, don't feel that you're, I'm going to use the word, for lack of a better word, stuck in that position. There's so much more that you can do in addition to your teaching. So don't sell yourself short. If you're a student, don't sell yourself short. Plan now for where you want to be. And when you make that plan, live through it. I mean, literally every single day when you wake up in the morning, live through that plan. Don't just write it down on paper. Start now. Wherever you are in life right now, you can always excel even greater than where you are. And I just, one little thing, we received an award many years ago, and we didn't know why we got the award, but we went to the ceremony. And at the ceremony, people were, I wasn't sure why they were saying. And at the end of the ceremony, two ladies walked up to me and they said, "Do you know who we are?" And I said, "No, not really." It had been several years since I had seen them, and they made me remember who they were. They were two ladies that I had counseled at a homeless shelter, and their children had been taken away from them. And they said, "We recommended you for this award because you told us we could do anything. And both of us have our PhDs now." And I just started crying. I was literally bawling because at first I didn't remember who they were. But then after I did, I remembered some of the conversations that we had had that were so heartbreaking. And so from that, they received I guess inspiration from me, but I received so much inspiration from them. They both were able to get their children back. They went back to school and got their PhDs and became teachers. And so inspire somebody, inspire somebody, and always put God first, because we truly believe in God, and we are a Christian family. So inspire somebody. And with doing that, you'll inspire yourself. You really will.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the inspirational message, for, the message to inspire not only someone else, but to also inspire yourself through others. So we thank you for your time. I thank the viewers at this time for joining us, and I hope that you enjoyed the conversation, the learning, and the experience. So everyone have a great afternoon. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for
Yes,
having us.
thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye.